What is up, Frankmeisters? Good to see everybody. How's everybody doing? Looks like we're filling up pretty quick this evening, guys, for this Monday night. I wasn't expecting to go live tonight, but a lot of people were asking me questions about these documents and everything. And by the way, I had somebody by the name of KYS in my green room with no picture, no nothing, and sorry, guys, but I will not allow anybody up here that I ask who it is and they don't respond and they have no picture, no avatar, nothing. So it sounds, see, they're back again. So sorry. Until I know who it is, KYS, let me know who you are in the chat. Don't know who you are. Don't know if you're a troll or if you're going to cause drama. We're not having no drama tonight. So let's get to the chat, see who's all hanging out with us tonight. We got Metal Mama, how you doing? Marbles, Gail Hurd, Leslie. Thought you weren't going to watch because you were sick and tired of the little games that the defense was playing. Nana 72, Cindy Hudson, 6-3 clocks. What's going on? Who else? We got Diddums. H. Nixon 83, Marine McCain, Beth Gonzalez, Kentucky Sleuth Angel. Is that what the KYS is? Give me a moment. Yeah. They left the backstage. Private chat. Oh, it's Faith Hope. Okay, I know it is. Hold on, Faith. Give me a minute. Got to go through the chat. See, we got Mustang, we got She Warrior, Cecil Hotel, V Marie. There's one of my mods. Hope you're on your toes because I'm sure there's going to be some trolls in here tonight. David, Shot. Good to see you. Give me a second there, Aunt April. Olivia, too. Kentucky Sleuth Angel. Renee, good to see you. Joe Newman, good to see you, buddy. Rescue, there's another mod. Thank you for being here. TLS, good to see you. Tanya Toe, good to see you. Tech Death, what's going on, buddy? Raggedy Susan, Tracy Chapman, Coach Kev, True Crime Housewife, Carol Murray, Support with Steffa, my long lost girlfriend, Amelia Lavender, Julia Friend, Robin B, Phil Bond, Farmer, what's going on, buddy? What's going on, Hugh? Jinx, good to see you, hon. Delphi Dummies. Melissa, Sharon Parker. And all right, let's get Angela Hope up here. Turn your mic on, Angela. Faith, turn your mic on. She's not hearing me. Well, when you turn your mic on, Faith, we'll chat. Lake Michigan.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My bad. Sorry about that, Frank. I'm new to this, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good. What's going on?
Hey, wow, that's pretty cool. I can't believe I'm actually talking to you.
Well, it's nice to meet you.
Thank you.
What can I do for you?
I've been following since day one. I'm a Hoosier resident myself, and just my heart goes out to the families and these two girls. They they had the wherewithal to, you know, sense that something was up and everything, and I just feel like, you know, they did everything right, and they could have been any one of our daughters, you know, and I'm just wanting to see justice like everyone else.
You know, I see all these groups out here blaming the families and everything like that, you know, and from day one they've been doing this and they have not shown one lick of proof. What they're doing is going by statements that were made years and years ago and try to expect these people to remember word for word what was said 7 years ago. It's like I tell them, hell, I can't remember what the hell I said yesterday along 7 years ago. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Kelsey was still a child herself, even though she was 17, 16, 17 years old. She's a young lady, but she's still a child in the mind. Okay.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't expect her to remember word for word anything she's ever said back then, you
Oh,
know,
heavens no, yeah. And,
and
you know, I mean, just the trauma and, you know, having to repeat themselves and everything. Sorry, I'm kind of going out and about right now, but uh, all right. Okay. Okay. Are we good?
sounds like you're in a daycare.
I'm picking my daughter up from cheerleading.
Well, you're more welcome to call back if you like once you get that taken care of.
Yeah, that was just a momentary drop in. I apologize for that.
That's
So,
okay.
am I like live where people can hear me and stuff?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Oh, how fun.
This is
Well, do I
being,
have to have my mic on then?
yes, you do if you're going to talk. Or you can listen in. Why? Because what I'm planning to do is go over the motions that were filed today, and
Yeah.
we'll have a discussion on that.
Okay.
All
Well, I'd
right,
like to just listen in and hear what your insight is. So, thank you so much for allowing me to join.
no problem. Have a good
Yeah.
evening.
You
Uh huh.
too.
Bye bye. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Must be somebody new I've never talked to. Let me see if there's anybody else that's popped in this chat before we get started on these documents. Candy B, Ron Logan. Who else we got? I think that's it. Ron Yeager, good to see you. Got Lake Michigan. All right, what I'm going to do, guys, we're going to go over the motions that were filed today, and we'll discuss them and get your guys' opinions and thoughts. And give me a second here. All right. We're going to go over the motion for continuance first and see what excuses are coming up with this time, guys. Let me know if you guys see that well enough, or if I need to expand it or not. Give me a 1 for yes, for expand, 2 for no. Good to see you, Gladys. Viv Inquiries, good to see you. You guys can see that just fine. Give me a 1. Thank you, Gail Hurd, for the 5 membership donations. Thank you. Let's see. Need to expand it out. How's that? I can't get too far, guys, and then I won't be able to read it on my end. All right, we'll go through this one right now, guys. So just be patient with me, and it's only a few pages long. Come now, the defendant Richard Allen by attorneys Bradley A. Rosie and Andrew J. Baldwin, and respectfully request that this court continue the February 12, 2024 hearing on state's motion to amend information filed on January 18, 2024. In support of said motion, attorneys Rosie and Baldwin state as follows. On January 18, 2024, the state filed an amended charging information and motion for leave to amend said information. The state request is to add 4 additional counts to the original charging information. On February 1st, 2024, the court issued an order setting the state's motion to amend for a hearing February 12, 2024 at 9 a.m. At the time of filing of the amended information, Attorney Rosie and Attorney Baldwin were not acting as Richard's lawyers. It was approximately 6 hours later that they were reinstated as Richard Allen's lawyers in this cause. As of the date of this motion, attorneys Rosie and Baldwin are in the process of recovering the voluminous discovery in this cause. The recovery has involved the transfer of information from attorneys Screamin and Labrado to prosecutor McClellan and then to attorney Rosie's office. The discovery must then be shared between attorneys Rosie and Baldwin, whose law offices are separate by nearly 100 miles. In addition to recovering discovery that was previously possessed by attorney Rosie and attorney Baldwin, the prosecutor's office has now directed additional and what appears to be new discovery to attorney Rosie and Baldwin. The new discovery upon initial review appears to be quite voluminous and will likely take several weeks for attorney Rosie and Baldwin to review. There is also the difficulty of communicating with their client regarding the new discovery, considering the distance between the clients and the lawyers. Without having any opportunity to review the entirety of the new discovery, attorney Rosie and Baldwin have no way of determining whether or not the amendments will prejudice the substantial rights of the defendant. Attorney Rosie and Baldwin are private practitioners and therefore have other clients and responsibilities that must be prioritized in addition to their client, Richard Allen. Some of these priorities involve client conferences and scheduled hearings set during the week of February 5th, 2024. Furthermore, attorney Rosie is scheduled to be out of the state of Indiana on Monday, February 12th, 2024 on personal matters. Any reasonable delay allowing for Rosie and Baldwin to get back up to speed, exchange discovery, communicate with defendant Allen, and review the new discovery would not be of any deterrent to the state. And on January 29, 2024, defendant Allen filed his verified motion to disqualify an accompanying affidavit. The filing of the motion for disqualification and or request for recusal strips the courts of jurisdiction to decide on any matter until a ruling of disqualification motion occurs, Lucas versus State. Therefore, it seems illogical that the motion to disqualify would fully adjudicated before any further hearings take place or before any other orders are issued by the court. Wherefore, attorneys Rosie and Baldwin respectfully request that this court continue the February 12th, 2024 hearing on the state's motion to amend charging information to reschedule the matter on a date and time convenient for all parties and after a full and just adjudication of defendant Allen's verified motion of disqualified take place. Well, I'm here to tell you, thank you, Viv Inquiries. Now that they have filed that, I expect Judge Gould sometime this week to rule on the motion to disqualify, because they've already done this once before they removed themselves, or she removed them from the case before, and she denied it. So I'm expecting her to deny that right out the gate. Okay, looks like you're back. Okay, let's see. What are your guys' thoughts on this? And technically, I mean, you want to get technical about it. Rosie should have been prepared for this back in October, because once they reinstated, they should have known that this was going to take place. In my personal opinion, I believe that Judge Gould was going to wait until Monday to bring up all these issues. Oh, there we go. And what people are not understanding also is that Rosie and Baldwin brought all this upon themselves back in November 2022 when they were assigned to the case, and the judge ordered that nobody outside of the case, like family members, the attorneys, or investigators tied into the case, are not to speak or anything on the case outside of the courtroom or through motions. And what did they do? They immediately did a little brief press conference with the news and started blabbing their mouths about shit. And That was the first strike they had against them. And that's when Judge Gould implicated the gag order in February. And then they did it again with the Franks motion. You know, I mean, what else do they want? And then the leaked information. You guys are over here talking about the dang weather. And remember another thing. Remember when Rosie filed his continuance last week? What did he clearly state in there? Yes, he had other obligations out of town on February 12th. Understandable. Second of all, he also stated that he needed to hire an attorney because he felt like he might get arrested. Now, my question to you, Mr. Bradley Rosie, why do you feel that you need an attorney and you might get arrested? What have you done to feel that way? Are you starting to admit that you were part of the scheme that you guys were trying to pull with the leaks? And somebody asked me today, what do I think this new discovery has to do with? Does it have anything to do with the leaks, or does it have anything to do with Richard Allen? And my take on this whole situation with the new discovery, I believe it's all on Richard Allen. I don't think it has anything to do with the leaks, because the leaks is being handled in another county by another prosecutor with Mitchell Westerman. There's no charges been brought up on Rosie or Baldwin when it comes to the leak. It's only been Westerman. So I don't think it has anything to do with the leak. I think it has more. They have more evidence against Richard Allen, and I think that the defense has seen some of it. I'm not saying they've seen all of it, but I believe that they got more evidence proving that Richard is guilty, and it's a stall tactic. And then you got Rosie bitching and complaining about having to travel all the way to Wabash Valley. You guys got allotted $2.1 million for this case. Not just for experts and all that shit. I'm sure that includes travel time and gas and all that stuff. So I don't know what you guys are bitching about that either. All right, I'm going through the chat here. If anybody wants to come up and chat, I'll put the link in the chat box, you guys. I just want other people's opinions. Ah, shit. Didn't mean to do that. Hold on, guys. Copy. Hold on. Oh, there she is. There's my friend. Lovely lady coming up, guys. Look who it is.
Hey, Frank.
Hi, Kristen.
How are you?
Hey, I'm chill tonight. I ain't dealing with no bullshit tonight. I just want to have a chill night, go over these documents with everybody and get their opinions. Me and you've already had a discussion about this shit today, so we've already came to an agreement. We both agree on the same thing.
Yep.
You know, so what is your take?
My take on what's happened, on everything that's happening right now?
Well, with the continuances that was filed today compared to last week's continuance, then the motion to vacate. We haven't gone over that one yet, so.
I definitely think that the defense is doing everything they can to stall this case right now. I just firmly believe that's what's up. I also think that they're running scared.
Mm-hmm.
I think the prosecution has evidence that they probably had culpability in the dissemination of the crime scene photos. And I think that they're worried. It bothered me when Rosie wrote in his motion that he was looking at possible jail time. I thought that was
an indicator right there.
That was an indicator right there that he thinks that he's in trouble.
Yeah, and that was the biggest red flag out of that last motion that they last week's continuance. So it was a big red flag. So that's telling me that Rosie's like, man, I better do something here.
Yeah, I think that the new discovery that Nick McClelland is referencing doesn't have anything to do with Richard Allen. I think it has to do with the crime scene photos and the leak.
Well, that's where me and you differ a little bit, because the reason why I say that is because the leak is a different county and a different charge on a different person. Rosie and Baldwin have not been charged in that case whatsoever. And that's why I'm leaning toward there's more discovery toward Richard Allen, because like I said, the leak case is in a different county. It's not even being held by Nick
Right.
McClelland unless Nick McClelland is working with Johnson County's prosecutor on this. That's the
Well,
only way I can think of.
I think it's part of the contempt charges. That's kind of how I'm kind of seeing it. That the discovery could be on that.
Right.
Now, if there is additional discovery on Richard Allen, then so be it. That'll be, even to me, icing on the cake.
Right.
But I really think that it has to do with the contempt charges that he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I just think we're going to really see Frasnkmeister put the bricks down on these guys. I mean, I just really foresee that.
Support with Steffa. What's going on, young lady?
Hey, Steffa.
Hey guys.
Hey.
How are you, Missy?
I'm good. You looking good, girl. You looking good.
Oh, thank you. I feel good.
And you know, the thing about this whole situation is they're bitching that she hasn't even ruled on the disqualification. It ain't even been close to 30 days yet. Not even close to 30 days.
Right.
She doesn't even have to have a hearing for that.
She doesn't. You know, the Supreme Court ruled on that already.
Yes,
it was
they
unanimous 5-0 that she stay on the case.
Right.
Nothing new has happened that would cause her to be thrown off this case.
Right. And now she's doing the proper steps, and I guarantee, even though she didn't have her Frank's motion hearing, she does not have to have a hearing. People do not understand that. If she feels that what was in the PCA for the search warrant was good enough to get the search warrant, that's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly. I just think it's really interesting that we've got a defense team screaming that they want a speedy trial, and every turn they're doing everything to stop the case from moving forward.
Right. And it's like it's stopping time, and then when it gets back up to par again, they're going to think they're going to try to be able to file for a speedy trial.
Right.
Well, if they get new discovery, though, I mean, that's huge. So if they got new discovery, I think she has to grant them. And I guess we'd have to look up Indiana statute if somebody would look it up. But I think they have to give at least 21 days for a new response from the defense with new discovery. Well, that's what it is in some states. I don't know what Indiana is, but you can't just throw some discovery on them and then expect them to argue if they didn't have the information. And that goes back and forth, whether it be the defense or the prosecution. So that was my question. Does anybody know what the dates are, or how many days it is when they get new discovery that they get a new hearing, like they postpone? Because I know that would mean March, that the February hearing would be postponed.
Yes. But I don't know how many days in Indiana. I'd have to look all that up.
I know. I don't either. I was hoping, Kristen, that you knew.
I don't know. That's something I obviously, Coach Kev says 10 days he believes.
That's at the end, that they can't add anymore. But
before trial.
But this is whenever each side gives new information.
Hold on a second.
Yes.
She's
Kristen,
looking it up.
Do your thing, girl. Do your thing.
Well, the way I look at this hearing on Monday, if she does not give them a continuance, is she's going to basically how should I say this, embarrass them.
Yeah.
Well, I think she has to, though, depending on the statute, depending on the day they got the discovery, because it goes by the date that they were served that discovery.
Well, they had to have, I believe, all the discovery turned over when it comes to Richard Allen by, I believe it was November 15th, if I'm correct. I know it was right in that area somewhere.
Okay, so when they're talking about new discovery, they're talking about the new discovery that they already had from the old, well, the second attorneys.
Okay, so it's 30 days from the date of the initial hearing, which is an appearance by the defense counsel or an appearance by the pro se defendant, whichever is later.
So that would be back in November 22.
Yep.
But I mean, when they get new discovery, like say
That's
gave
what
you,
we were discussing that just now. Is this discovery on Richard Allen, or does it have something to do with the leak? That's what we don't know.
but my question is, if they got new discovery on Richard Allen and they have to defend him, they get like so many days. Like some states are 21. Kristen said 30, but I don't know if she's talking about the same. If how long they get for a continuance.
So it says here, in all formal, this is under code S 33-38-13-34 2022, section 34. In all formal proceedings, discovery is available to the commission and the judge or justice under the Indiana Rules of Civil Procedure. A motion requesting a discovery order must be made to the circuit court, superior court, or probate court judge in the county in which the commission hearing is held. In all formal proceedings, the counsel shall provide the following to the judge or justices at least 20 days before the hearing.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that's
So they got 20 days.
That you were reading a civil statute.
No, this is for
she named all of the different courts.
Okay.
yeah, this is for all of them. Criminal, superior, circuit, all of them. Probate. And it says the names and addresses of all witnesses whose testimony the counsel expects to offer at the hearing, copies of all written statements and transcripts of testimony of witnesses described in subdivision 1 that are in the possession of the counsel or the commission, are relevant to the hearing, have not previously been provided to the justice or judge, copies of all documentary evidence that the counsel expects to offer in evidence at that said hearing, documentary evidence that has not been furnished to the judge or justice under subsection B. After formal proceedings have been instituted, the justice or judge may request in writing that counsel furnish to the justice or judge the names and addresses of all witnesses known at any time to the counsel who have information that may be relevant to a charge against a defense or the justice or judge. So this is also talking about discovery for the removal of lawyers or judges.
So this must be discovery. I'm thinking it's to do with the leak.
The counsel shall provide to the justice or judge copies of documentary evidence that are known at any time to the counsel or in the possession at any time of counsel or the commission.
So we need to know the date that they were served that new
Give me
discovery.
a second, guys.
The commission, it says not more than 60 days after receiving the request, a copy of the request shall be filed with the Supreme Court. So they have 60 days after they requested she be removed, for them to find whether or not there is probable cause. And see, I don't think there's probable cause to remove her because nothing has happened new since they made their 5-0 ruling that she stay on the case. That's crazy.
I was talking about maybe, I think we're talking about different. I wasn't talking about Gaul. I was talking about.
Yeah, I know, but this came under the Indiana Code for discovery and the admissibility. That was what I was reading from.
So they're both discussed.
I think they're tied in together.
Interesting.
But yeah, the actual rule in Indiana is the prosecutor has to provide discovery within 30 days of their initial hearing, which would have been back in 2022.
But when did they get this new discovery? Because they get
And
another.
so they when they get new discovery, and it says the date must be no earlier than 45 days and no later than 75 days after the completion of the initial hearing, unless there is an agreement of both sides.
Right. They'd have to agree. So the date it would be,
Sorry, guys.
depending on the date that they got the new discovery, that would start the countdown.
Yes, because sometimes it's called a preliminary hearing. He really didn't have a preliminary hearing yet. None of that's happened because, I mean, his initial arrest was made and he had his initial hearing. That could be construed as a preliminary hearing, but that's where the judge will inform the defendant of the charges that they're facing, along with what their rights are, and what the potential penalties associated with him being convicted. And they also at that time address the defendant's plan to hire counsel, and stuff like that, and the conditions for bail or bonds and the setting of future dates of the case. So that all happened back in November of 2022. And the most common misconception about initial hearings is that the court will take up evidentiary issues, like whether the defendant is guilty or not during this hearing. And that is not correct.
No.
While there are some evidentiary issues that the defendant's attorney may want to address at the initial hearing, such as bond, bail, or other preliminary legal matters, issues of guilt are most often saved for the criminal trial in Indiana. They have a right to retain counsel within 20 days of being charged with a felony. And they have a right to an assigned counsel at no expense, which he is. If they're indigent, then they get a court-appointed counsel. They also have a right to a speedy trial, which is hilarious. The person's privilege against self-incrimination. And it says that after the 20 days after the completion of the initial hearing, they have to have a plea entered, whether it's not guilty or whatever, or 10 days for those who are charged with only one or more misdemeanors. So he was charged with a felony, so he had 20 days to do that. And of course, I think he did. He said he was not guilty. Let's see. And it says, for future court dates, there's all kinds of days in here. When the defense can offer evidence of an alibi is 20 days prior to the omnibus date. When the defense can file alleging that the defendant has an intellectual disability, which is 20 days prior to the omnibus date. And the defense filing a motion to dismiss has to happen 20 days prior to the omnibus date. And I think the omnibus date is the actual date of trial. The discovery, preliminary pleas, and pretrial motions. So when preparing for a criminal trial in Indiana, the prosecution and defense will engage in discovery, the process of exchanging information about the witnesses and evidence that they present at trial. And this process ensures that both parties know what evidence will be brought up, preventing what is called trial by ambush. Obtaining depositions, which are out-of-court statements given under oath by a person involved in the case, and these can be written transcripts, videotapes, or a combination of the two. Issuing a subpoena, written order issued by the court for books, records, or other documents for inspection, requiring the other side's evidence to be submitted to a physical examination, such as the ballistics, requesting that a document be submitted for examination to determine if it is authentic.
Here's the definition of omnibus date. a date by which certain pleadings and motions must be filed by the defendant instead of a date that you must appear in court.
Okay, so it's a date that usually the trial court will set.
Yep.
But today's motion was we got new discovery. Let me make sure I understand. We got new discovery, so we need to postpone the February 13th date, correct?
That's what they're asking.
So I think by law they have to give them, if depending on the date they got the discovery. So if they got discovery today, they would get whatever the date was, 20 days or 30 days from then. But if they got the discovery when the second set of attorneys got it, that's not going to apply, because unless it's been 20 or 30 days, or I can't remember what Kristen said for criminal. 20 days. So depending on when they got it,
which is 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I mean, you think about this. When did Nick file for the amended charges?
The
Right
date-
after the Supreme Court.
The same day of the Supreme Court ruling.
so
Yes.
what was that date? I can't remember.
It was
January 20th, right?
I can't remember.
So that would be over the 20 days.
Or
So
January
Yes.
19th.
Yes, there you go.
So unless the prosecutor and the judge just agree, if that is the date that they got discovery was the date they made those new charges, then they're going to have the
They're
judge
shit out of
can
luck.
make them. Yeah, the judge can make them unless the judge rules to give them continuance. So I don't know. It's this case. Oh my gosh.
It's just never ending. I mean, it just goes. It's you can't make this stuff up.
Somebody just asked, let's go to Chris Owens. Will this discovery be released after the defense reviews it? It depends on what the
What it
discovery
is.
is. Exactly.
If it's
Well-
new discovery on Richard Allen, no.
No, definitely not. He also says, do you guys think the clients were involved? And I wanted to touch on that a little bit. In my opinion, this is all happening because of Keegan Klein. The timing of everything, him being moved, Supreme Court reinstating the defense team, Nick McClellan amended the charges. Why did he amend the charges? What new information did he get to amend those charges?
See, I think the charges should have been that way in the very beginning, and he was just correcting that. That's my take on it.
Mhm.
Now, that doesn't mean that Kagan hasn't provided information.
Right.
And I'm still not fully 100% on that. I'm open for anything at this point when it comes to Kagan. But I just, at this point, I just don't see, there's just nothing.
I'm just looking at the timing of everything when it came to Keegan being transferred.
Who is
One-
Tom Jones? He said the chat's for tools. Bye.
I
Who
know.
is he? Who is?
Thanks,
who
Tom.
is-
Appreciate it. Though.
Yeah, really. Good
Good.
riddance. See ya.
I'm
Yeah.
sure one of them got him in there.
So
Um,
I agree though about I'm sorry, I am with Frank on this on Keegan Clyde. There's too many coincidences, like too many, not just one, but too many.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, again, I think that we can. I try to really erase my mind from all the things we know about the Anthony Schatz, Kagan Klein angle, simply because, and what I mean by that is we've all been tainted with the Kleins way before Richard Allen was ever part of this case. And we all had our ideas that they were involved, and we all had our reasons of why we thought that. I mean, there was a lot of evidence that looked like evidence to us, even though law enforcement never said it was evidence, that it,
Right.
we made it look like what we wanted it to, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And not in a bad way. It's just the way everything kind of fell. And I just think at this point in time, I'm still standing on the fence. I know that's probably not fair, but that's just how I am. I'm just kind of sitting there thinking, I need more. I can't go down that rabbit hole again until I have more. I just can't.
I totally understand that, but what basically kind of pushed me a little bit over the fence was the fact, yes, after Keegan got sentenced, it got quiet about him for a couple months. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's being transferred, and his reasoning is it was because of Richard Allen. And then all of a sudden, you have these motions being filed by Nick, new amended charges, new discovery. It's just like Stepha said, the timing of all this happening with Keegan being moved, it's no coincidence to me. That's just how
See,
I
I
feel
think the
about it.
charges being amended was a message to the defense. And I think he chose that timing because of what was happening with the case at that moment.
Mhm.
And I definitely think he waited until they ruled with the Supreme Court. And his message that he was sending to them was this: I'm coming for you. And this is I'm coming for your client. You know, we firmly believe he did this crime. We firmly believe we can prove that he murdered these girls. That is his take on this. And I think that down the road here, you know, within the next 6 months or so, he's going to bring up the death penalty.
I
Yes.
agree. And I
Yeah.
think that Keegan, let's not forget when Keegan got sentenced, think all the bigwigs went to his sentencing. Why would they care about some Joe Schmo's sentencing? I mean, were you there? I can't remember if Frank was
No,
there.
I didn't go to that one. No.
But Doug Carter was there. Like, why would Doug Carter go to Keegan Klein's sentencing? Vito was there. You don't go
Holman was
to
there, right?
yeah, they would not be going to it just a pedo hearing, because how many of those happen every day? They went there for a reason. So
Right.
that's just my opinion. I'm a
And
nobody.
I think you're probably right, Steffa. I mean, I really do. And I think Frank's right with everything that was going on with the river search and everything. I think it was more about Richard Allen than it was the Kleins. And I think we were all off base when we were thinking it was all about the Kleins.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I agree with you on that. But once more information started coming out, and then I mean, think about it: the river search, and then the search of Richard Allen's house, and then he's being arrested. Is that a coincidence, or is that just timing? You see what I'm saying?
Oh, I do. I mean, you know, you have to wonder about coincidences when you're talking about murder cases.
Yeah, but a lot of law enforcement officers will tell you there is no coincidences in law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, there's a lot of coincidences.
This case has more left turns than a NASCAR track.
Jumping Jack Flash is asking, so is Ricky south of Terre Haute, or was he moved again? No, he's in Wabash Valley, which
He's
is
in
south
Wabash Valley.
which is south of Terre Haute, and Keegan got moved to Michigan City, up near South Bend. Let's see.
And no, it was not Carroll County. I believe he was Miami County is where he was. His where he was
Yeah, he was in
sentenced.
Miami County.
Yeah.
Is where his sentencing was.
I don't think he's going to be eating much discovery anymore there, Joe. I mean, I don't know what good that's going to do for him. It's going to make him shit a lot. I hate to say it that way, but it's the truth.
And I think it's interesting if the rumors are true and that Tony is in Arizona.
What a coincidence, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And see, people keep asking me about that. And I said, look, I've heard it from several different people. We've talked about it. And, you know, I can't clarify that he's actually there. I mean, it's been talked about, but there's no verification of it.
I did not know that.
Right.
Yeah, I've heard that he moved to Arizona.
Yeah, that's what I heard too, with his girlfriend.
Oh, he's got a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say something that was inappropriate, and I'm not going to say it now.
Go right ahead.
Okay, I'm going to say it because I hate.
Somebody said Arizona with Kelly also known as Peaches.
Not
Yeah.
Kelly. Please tell me it's not Kelly was flirting
Yes,
with.
yes, yes,
No,
it is.
God, no. That's disgusting. Okay. Anyway, what I was gonna say is this, and forgive me, God, for saying it. I know he's missing part of his foot, or he lost his foot, so I'm hoping that he can't abuse her physically like he did the others. And I know that sounds horrible.
Stumping her.
No, I don't think it sounds horrible. I think it's it speaks to the character of who he is.
I
Right,
know, but I
right.
mean that's what came to my head. That's what, because I can't stand men that, if you hurt a woman, this is my thoughts. If you ever hurt a woman or children, your moral compass is broken. Period. It can be fixed, in my opinion.
I
Um,
agree.
Leslie Kingston says that the more they run, the worse they look, and I would have to agree with that statement. It's looking, it's like they're running from everything now.
And I'm with Candy. He has a girlfriend. Now Tony Klein can get a girlfriend. I don't have a husband. Come on now. Things are rough. I mean, hell, let's get this together, Steph.
GP, quit worrying about trying to type and drive.
GP, don't you dare.
Focus
Yeah.
on the road.
I was just going to say, no typing, no texting while driving, please. Please, please. Not a good idea.
We look out for our peoples.
So that's interesting. I wish I would where this came from about him moving to Arizona with Kelly, when supposedly Kelly was like flirting with Keegan. And there's like that, remember the 10-page letter that Keegan sent her about the sock?
I don't know if that's that same Kelly, because Kelly Aaron you're talking about.
Yeah,
That's
I think
Kelly. That's Kelly Aaron. I
So
don't
it's
know if it's. I don't know if it's
It
her or
can't be
not.
the same Kelly
No.
from Arizona.
Okay.
No, there ain't no way.
God, I just can't imagine.
She
but-
does not like to be known about. She keeps to herself. As you
Okay.
notice, anytime she goes live, she never actually shows her face. It's always a picture of her. You know, she's one of them people that just keeps to herself. That's all I can say.
Deb knows. Kelly isn't involved with Tony. Okay. Thanks, Deb, for clarifying.
Thanks, Deb.
Yeah, I was gonna
Coming to
say.
the rescue.
Because
I didn't think it was Kelly Aaron.
I'm like, oh my goodness. But yeah,
I'm going through the chat while you guys are.
CJK, I don't believe that. I don't believe any of that with the CSI screwing up. I think again that's a narrative that the defense could be pushing. I just don't see it happening. We had pretty good coverage with the state and the county, as well as the FBI in the initial days of the murder of these two girls. And I don't believe that the crime scene, that would have happened. And I mean, if you want to talk to Steve from True Crime Web and talk about chain of custody, does it happen? Of course it does, but it's not something that is common. And it's something they know that they have to take care of. And I just think it's easy for people out there on the internet to say all kinds of crazy things like,
yeah, that was crazy
oh,
shit.
they put it in their pocket and just dropped it in the ground that day or whatever.
They found some people out there found it 2 weeks after the girls.
Exactly.
I'm like, go back to the memorandum. The defense clearly states the bullet was found the day the girls were found. That's all I can tell you. They got one thing right, is they about the bullet. Beth Gonzalez is asking, is Judge Gold able to make rulings with the defense motion to recuse on the table? Yes, she is. She's got up to 30 days per motion that's filed to make a determination on it. She can go all day up to the last day and rule on every motion except for the recusal. She can wait till the last day to do that.
Yes. And at this point in time, honestly, I just don't see her giving them any breaks.
I don't see it either.
I think they have used up their goodwill with Judge Gull, and I just see her sticking straight to the, she's going to be straight down the line and follow the letter of the law right now. That's just how I see it. They're not going to get any breaks.
Do you think though that she would have?
There you go, Lakeside Justice.
I can't imagine her trying to recuse the defense after this just went to the Supreme Court and they said they reinstated them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I can definitely see her doing that, because my feeling is that they put them back on the case for her to do just that, because she didn't hold a hearing and she did it in chambers, and they want it done correctly with the defendant present.
Okay.
Right.
Olivia, too, does removal apply since the ISC voted to keep Gull? The way the process works is that she can make her own decision on the motions filed in the court. And then it just depends. Then it's up to the defense if they wanted to file an appeal with the appellate court. See, this is where it all got screwed up. They bypassed the appellate court, went straight to the Supreme Court when the Supreme Court clearly told them that you guys didn't follow protocol yourself. But they
Exactly.
end up hearing the case anyway.
And I think they heard the case because it is such a high profile
Right.
case for the state of Indiana. It's the biggest case Indiana has had in God knows how long.
I think ever.
Probably. And so that's why the Supreme Court went ahead and heard the case. I really don't think they would have heard this under normal circumstances.
Right.
They would have thrown it back to the appellate court and said, handle this.
Right.
Because that is the chain of command. It's just like anything else. When you bypass that whole court, why would they do that?
It's just like being in the military. If I was to bypass my squad leader and went right to the first sergeant or my platoon sergeant, I can get an Article 15 for that. An Article 15 is like a bad conduct write-up. You get you lose 2 weeks privileges. You're restricted to the barracks, and you get money taken out of your check for the month.
CJK asked if anyone thinks Gull's getting input from a mentor. Gull is the mentor. This is a woman who's in line for the Supreme Court herself. She doesn't need a mentor. This woman has been practicing law long enough as a judge to know what she's doing. This isn't her first rodeo.
Hayler Mirror says, I don't think so either. I found it crazy. After Judge Gold was okay to stay, that the defense still tried to remove her. And that's what we don't understand either. But hold on. What the hell is that?
Who's guilty of murder in the second degree?
Oh, like YouTube just started. And that's what we don't understand is that they did this a few months back and asked her to recuse herself, and she denied it. And then they took it to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court basically denied their motion to remove her. And now they're trying it again. I see what they're doing. If she denies it, they're going to take it to the appellate court. But I believe what's going to happen, she's going to remove them before all this takes place.
Oh, I firmly believe she is. I will not at all be shocked if that's what happens.
And did you hear what happened to Allen County Courthouse? Did you hear what happened to the Allen County Courthouse?
I didn't.
Somebody busted in there the other night, and destructive stuff, I guess, inside the courthouse.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's a beautiful place. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to get off here and let you pros do it. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch from the chat, and you guys are amazing.
Thanks for coming up.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Always great to talk to you.
All right, y'all. Have a good night. I'll be in your chat watching. Make sure you don't
do the same.
All right, thanks, guys.
I had not heard that, but that's spooky to think that there's somebody out there that's messing around with the courthouses.
Yeah.
I just still think that they are running scared. I think the defense is absolutely scared. And at this point, I really feel that way, especially the way that Rosie wrote his motion.
That's how I took it too. That's exactly the way I took it. And I said, oh, now the jitterbugs are starting to come out with Rosie, because you could plain as day see it with Baldwin at the October 19th hearing.
Oh, yeah, he came prepared. He had an attorney.
Not only that, he stuck his tail between his legs and went out the back door and let Rosie handle the rest of it with Kathy and Alan's mom and all that. Baldwin was completely gone by the time all that happened.
Yeah, because as soon as she did what she did, he's like, where's the door? How do I get out of here without being seen? What's
Right.
the quickest way out of here? He didn't care about his client. He wanted to get the heck out of Dodge.
Listen to what Joe says. Kristen and Frank better than MS. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. I don't know if I'm going to take that as high praise or not.
Right, exactly.
But thank you. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like after talking to my friend, the judge, and, he went over all the documents, all the motions. And after he started reading, Rosie's motion, he was like, you know what? If I was her, I would kick these guys off this case. I mean, that's just how he felt. He was just like, this is ridiculous what they're doing. And that he doesn't feel that they have the best interest of Richard Allen
See, and
in the forefront.
Exactly. It's all about their personal agenda for themselves.
Right. And the optics of how they look.
I mean, you see one little slip in their little document that they filed, and it's too far to drive to. That's all they say. It's all about them. It's too far to drive to see RA, and that's all you hear about RA through that whole damn thing.
Right. Exactly. And, I would have pushed harder had I been on the Supreme Court, because I would have asked them, why have you not filed for a speedy trial when all your motions talk about the fact that he's being denied a speedy trial? You're the ones who are denying him that.
Yes, correct.
They're the ones. It isn't Judge Gull or the prosecution. The defense started all of this way back in November of 2022.
And that's what I'm trying to get through to these. I'm not going to say it. I'm going to be nice tonight. All you pro-defense people need to open up your minds and expand it out and realize the defense team started this on their own. Had nothing to do with the prosecutor, had nothing to do with Judge Gull. She implemented as soon as she put them in place. The case is not to be discussed outside the courtroom. That includes family, law enforcement, any experts, attorneys, whatever. And what did they do the same damn day? Had a little press conference with the news.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the bullet evidence this, the bullet evidence that. And I'm like, here we go.
And then every turn, they were doing all kinds of things through motions to circumvent the gag order.
Yep.
And she's not a fool. She's not an idiot. She knows that's what they are doing. And this, I think they overstepped instead of just doing lawyering and this is what defense, attorneys do. They overstepped. They way overstepped the bounds. And I absolutely believe that the leak was intentional. I
honestly believe it did.
Absolutely, it was too. That it was. And I think it would be interesting if this new discovery is evidence to prove that.
Well, I mean, just with the conversations with the judge, Baldwin, Rosie, and McClellan, October 10th, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
It was brought to Rosie's attention what was going on and those emails.
Yes.
And to Baldwin's attention.
Yes.
So they're not going to sit here and try to circumvent the system and try to play like they're fucking victims when they brought this upon themselves and they know they did.
Well, they said that she what is it? That she kind of hit him off guard, whatever. They knew when she told them stop working on this case. They, as attorneys, knew then what was coming.
Mhm.
Defense attorneys don't get told to stop working on a case that they're working on by the court
Right.
unless there's something serious wrong. They knew they were in trouble. They knew what had happened. For one, they knew that the discovery had been leaked. The crime scene photos were out there. They knew that a person had committed suicide over it. They knew all of this.
And see, the thing about it is, Baldwin knew on the 19th of October he was in some deep shit, or he wouldn't have hired David Hennessy.
Exactly. Hey,
And
Ruckus.
now Rosie's starting to realize, damn, I'm up shit creek. I need to get an attorney.
Oh, yeah. Because, remember when we first started talking about what happened in October, I tried to remind everyone, especially on my lives, and I know you were saying the same thing. Look, the state of Indiana is doing an investigation into the culpability of who's responsible for this leak. Is it just one person that walked into an office and stole some stuff? Or was that afforded to them? Was that opportunity afforded to them, given to them, made possible by others?
Mm-hmm.
I firmly have believed from day one, you can't tell me that an attorney who's been practicing for as long as Baldwin's been practicing and touts how wonderful he is wouldn't know to lock that stuff up.
I have tried to drive that home a million times.
Come
Any
on.
attorney with any ethical responsibility should have known. Don't leave this shit. I've been saying this for months. You don't know who in that office that works there is just going to happen to walk into that conference room for what reasons nobody knows. And that shit's laying out there.
Yep. And the fact that they altered the photos that
Oh,
were
yeah,
leaked.
yeah. Yes.
Oh, come on. That's where this gets really dicey, because if they are involved in the leak and they were involved in altering those photos to match a narrative that they were trying to push,
Mm-hmm.
then we have obstruction of justice.
Yep.
Which is criminal.
And I think that's what Rosie's afraid of.
And to me, the only reason he would be saying that he's worried about being arrested and possible criminal charges and going to jail is because of that very right there. So, how were they altered? Well, they put horns on Abby, and there were no horns or sticks on Abby. None. Not on her head or coming out of her head.
I'm going through the chat. I'm way behind on the chat.
Todd's right. The mental gymnastics that we have to go through on this case is unbelievable.
But some of us will learn how to jump through the hoops to avoid all that over the years. You know, we've learned how to avoid all that crap.
But he says the mental gymnastics required to dismiss the basic facts in the PCA and then to excuse the defense and their behavior are simply unbelievable. And I have to agree with him. How people can dismiss the basic facts that are sitting right there in the PCA about Richard Allen's guilt, but excuse the defense and what they've done for the last year, it makes no sense to me. It just makes no sense to me. You and I talked about that today, how people can overlook and feel sorry for Richard Allen and totally and absolutely dismiss why we're even talking about this. What happened to Abby and Libby.
And see, and I don't like getting away from this, but this is something that we had to talk about. But once again, it all goes back to this.
Yep.
This is the main reason we are all to come together when in a community is because of these young ladies right here. I understand the circumstances are going on with the attorneys and the judge and the game plan that's going on. But once again, it all reverts back to Abby and Libby. Everybody needs to remember that. And it seems like a lot of these other goofballs, wackos, whatever you want to call them, have lost sight of what this is all about.
Yep.
You know,
and it's, and it is, I mean, everyone, I think, and we just constantly have to remind people about them, and their family members that are sitting here watching this circus as it develops day in and day out. And that's what it's really become, which is sad. And I really hope she can get a handle on it and reel it back in,
Right.
to where we get on, it's them filing motions isn't abnormal.
No, it's
That's,
not.
the defense is going to file a ton of motions, because if they don't put it in writing to the court, it didn't happen. So they have to, if they're going to ever look at an appeal for him, if he's ever found guilty, they have to have it in the record. So that's why both sides do motions. That's the whole purpose of it, is so there's a record of what it is they're objecting to or wanting.
Brian Emery says Keegan gave 2 separate names for who logged into the Anthony Shots account on the morning of the murders. One of them was TK. I'm getting information about some stuff about TK that I'm not willing to divulge right now. I'll talk to you about it because I haven't got it verified, but I'll tell you what I was told a couple days ago when we get off the phone, off of here.
Okay. $10 from Gail Hurd. Thank you so much, Gail,
I'll go through that here.
for supporting Frank.
I don't believe there will be a trial, Bees 9. Honestly, I don't. The way things are going now and the way that the defense is acting, I see a change of plea. You guys can hold that to me, but I swear I have watched too many trials. I've been on a jury, which I was a foreman. I know how this stuff works. I've witnessed it all. And the way I see the defense's tactics right now, and especially like you said with Rosie's continuance motion last week, scared off his wit, and it was plain as day in there. A change of plea is coming. Trust me, a change of plea is coming.
I just think that they've shot themselves in the foot, and I don't see them coming back from it. I don't see Rosie and Baldwin fixing this or righting their ship. I just don't. And it doesn't seem to me that they care to, because everything that they're still doing is to, completely upend the fact that this case can move forward. Because just like Baldwin said in his motion, we've asked the Supreme Court to remove the judge, recuse the judge, which they've already done once and was told no in a 5-0 unanimous vote. They've already done that. Now they're doing it again. It's like little kids who's had their hands slapped for the 19th time
over the same thing.
Over the same thing. How many times do you have to be told that you're not going to get this? And it's just like,
I'm leaning towards a change of plea.
Yeah, I think that I just think they're really not handling this case well. If as well as they tout how experienced they are, I don't think they know their ass from a hole in the ground. That's just me.
Lakeside Justice, we don't know. We have to see what the judge rules this week. Honestly, I don't think she's going to grant him the continuance because I think she's picked up on their game of the stalling tactics that they're doing. And see, there's another thing that people don't understand, that they're out there that are backing Richard Allen in the defense. When have you seen once Nick McClelland do interviews and putting information out about the case? Any type of discovery or anything. Have you seen Nick McClelland do that in 7 years? I sure in the hell hasn't, except for in the probable cause affidavit.
And do you remember how bad people talked about him?
Yeah.
How he was going to be this horrible prosecutor and there was no way he was going to be able to handle this case.
He was in over his feet.
And and all of this. And, he's basically been the professional one.
And that's another
situation.
Thing. I was talking to some people about that today. I said, I think that the defense underestimated Nick McClelland just because he's from a little rinky-dink town prosecutor. They underestimated him. They did.
Yep. So. I think it's interesting that a week from tomorrow, it'll be 7 years.
Yes.
And and what bothers me is that all of this is going on and this is we have all this smoke around this case, you know, instead of us moving forward and having our eyes set on a trial date, we've got all this other stuff happening. And we have an anniversary coming up of this horrific event, and what that means for the family and the friends of these girls that every year are reminded of what they lost and how horrific it is. And yes, there's somebody that has been charged that's sitting in jail, but my God, it just doesn't seem like, you know, it's headed anywhere.
Jumpin' Jack Flash says, I know there are other scumbags involved in this. I wish to God they would hurry up and arrest these bastards. And see, we talked about this earlier, Jumpin' Jack Flash. We believe what's going on, what Nick McClellan is doing. He's given Richard Allen the option. Hey, I've already amended to these charges to this, and this. The next step is, if you don't want to talk about who else is involved, if there is anybody else involved, I'm going to throw the death penalty on your ass, and that'll get you to talk.
Mm-hmm. That hasn't even been put on the table yet.
Nope.
But I have a feeling it will be. And you know, what gets me about the 7-year mark, and it's hard to even fathom that when I say it, that it's been 7 years, because I remember discussing this case with my mom, and my mom passed away in September of 2017. And so it's been 7 years. It's just like, I just can't wrap my head around that. But not only that, but the girls, you know, their friends have graduated from high school. They graduated from college this year. You know, some of them are probably married already, possibly even having families already. We know that Kelsey's had a baby. She got married.
Yep.
Look at all the things that have happened that Abby and Libby didn't get to be a part of and didn't get to do. It was all stolen from them. You know?
Let's see. We got Lala. Are they trying to get her removed from this case or the other murder case where Baldwin and Gull are together, the female accused of unaliving her husband? They're trying to get her removed from the Delphi case, and there was a conflict of interest between Baldwin and Gull on another murder case in Allen County. So, from my understanding, Miss Deb from True Crime Notebook knows more on this. She's has a little more insight of this. I guess she did do the paperwork to recuse herself from that case, but it wasn't signed. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. Miss Deb, True Crime Notebook, knows more about that, guy, so you might want to hit her up on that.
It's
Jinx says Gold gonna send him down the road with burnt biscuits.
You know, I hope she does set them right. I really do, because they need to. They need to hear it. And you know, so what if they get embarrassed in open court? Oh well.
That's being a part of being an attorney.
Yep.
You're willing to dish out the heat, you better learn how to take it.
Yeah. Which I thought was funny by the what was his name? Librato.
Yeah.
When he was sucking up to her, here he is talking about, you know, Richard Allen's innocence, but touting how Richard Allen, if he's going to get a fair trial, it'll be through Judge Gull, because she's, you know, an amazing judge, and he's practiced under her for over 20 years, and he knows that she will see to it that the trial is fair.
Okay, so we got Tracy Chapman says, can the judge get rid of one of the lawyers and keep the other one, or is it all in one? The judge can get rid of either one at any time, but in this case, I just don't see one being get rid of because the other one's tied to it. It's like being part of a baseball team. Okay, if one player makes an error, it affects the whole team. Exactly. You can't just punish one person and then the other one sit back and go, ha, 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 I still got all this shit I'm going to still do on them. And see, Rosie, he needs to tone down his ego. That's his problem.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely got got ego issues. He definitely does. I see
Well,
that KU's on CJK. Arizona was on last night. They won. Talking about my basketball.
Mike Side says, like Rosie said, he has a practice and family to worry about. This is his concern, not his client. He's the one that has to go by what the court tells him to do. He has to rearrange his schedule.
Yep.
I'm telling you, Judge Gold's trying to make an example of these guys. You're not going to keep stalling on this case, and this is exactly what they're doing.
Yep. And I mean, you don't think that she's thought about the fact that, oh, he's going to be out of town next week. It's Valentine's Day. Where's he taking his wife? Sorry, you're going to have to reschedule that. You do have a trial and a guy that's, facing some serious charges here. They just don't stop and think. It's not that easy. You can't just go into the court and say, well, you didn't talk to me about what date this was going to be set for this, motion hearing or whatever. Yeah, sometimes they do that. Sometimes they have everybody together and they set dates future out and they do it. But that's not what's been happening in this case, because the defense hasn't wanted that, in my opinion. Otherwise, we would have been having hearings all along. I mean, she asked them for a hearing in October in her chamber.
Yep.
Do you want to go out in the court now and do a hearing? We can do a hearing. Everybody was there. All of the investigators. McClellan was in the courtroom ready to have his 10 witnesses testify.
There was a shitload. There was a shitload. I was like, what the hell's going on here?
What are these guys all doing here?
I'm like, something's
she
going on.
offered that to them and they said no.
They
so
knew
who
what was
is
getting
it
ready to
that's
go
really
down.
stalling this case, you guys? Who is it?
Yeah. It just flabbergasts me on some of the mindset, some of these people. I mean, the writing's on the wall, exactly what's going on here, and it's like it goes right by them. And somebody asked me a question a couple days ago. Do I believe that they do need to be charged with contempt? Oh yeah, you must believe they need to be charged with contempt. And I'm not trying to be pro prosecutor, all that. I do believe that a person does have a right to a fair trial through the judicial process, but when it comes to his own attorneys, they're violating the damn judicial process, if you ask me.
Exactly. And SP 74, we have talked about this. Frank's talked about it. I've talked about it. The charges against Richard Allen are exactly, we've read them. We've read them verbatim from the state code. Yep. Yes. He can be charged for murder even if he didn't unlive them.
Right.
Simply because they were unlived during the commission of kidnapping.
Which is a felony.
Which
elevates it to a capital murder case.
And that's why the charges were amended. And I believe and a lot of times that happens. That's not unusual either. They will charge lesser charges to hold them in the beginning, and then they'll bring more charges later down the road. So that doesn't surprise me about the amended charges. It doesn't. I think that's what the charges should have been initially. And I think it was his bomb to do that, like I said, to give an eye opener to the defense and say, look, we're not playing.
And I would have to agree with you, Lala. They are making a mockery of the judicial system.
SP 74 said, not those codes. Everyone is missing it. Well, I don't know what everybody's missing.
I don't know. I don't even know where she's at. Yes, you're welcome. Return of the Diamond.
A person who knowingly or intentionally aids, induces, or causes another person to commit an offense commits that offense. It's the same thing that we were just saying.
Thanks. You're welcome, Return of the Diamonds. I do the best that I can, you know, and I just hope that when I scratch people's backs, I would hope they would scratch mine. And that's why I made the comment before the new year that I'm not going to be as nice anymore, you know, because I share with a lot of different people. And that's why me and Kristen threw a fit the other night. I said, some of these creators are so damn lazy. They don't want to do the work for themselves. So they take other people's documents or their ideas or whatever and create their own stuff for it. And I'm sick of it. Now I can guarantee that somebody's watching our show now. They're going to take something that we said and create their own show with it. Guarantee it.
Oh, yeah. And like I said, if she feels that there's evidence showing that they committed obstruction of justice or anything criminal, criminality here, I guarantee you that will be dealt with swiftly. I firmly and absolutely believe that.
Give me a second. Refreshing my laptop. Because I just saw a comment. My rescue. Oh, boy. Boy, y'all are hitting that like button like crazy tonight, aren't you?
Yes. If Kagan Klein was involved, even if he didn't know what the full plan was was going to happen that day with the girls, he could be charged with murder.
But see, I mean, that's where I'm stuck. I'm still having a hard time believing that Keegan would be part of a murder. See, my thing is with Keegan is the role that he played is that he knew who had access to that Anthony Shots account. Why don't he just give the names up and just get it over with? Make it simpler on everybody. Even though they could prove you were not directly involved with the murders at all, just accept responsibility that you were selling the account information or whatever you were doing, or the people that you knew had access to it. You admitted yourself during the transcript, Keegan, that while you would be effed up on whatever you were doing at home, pass out in a chair, all your other friends were in your phones. Start giving those names up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I know. It's like, I also believe, honestly, and this is just my take on Keegan, is that he likes people talking about him. He likes being the center of attention. He likes the fact that podcasters want to interview him. He likes the fact that people are putting money on his books. He likes all of the attention. The reason being is that he didn't get a lot of attention, I feel, as a child or even now as an adult male. And so to me, we have to keep that in the forefront of our minds when we're talking about him, as well as the fact as how easily he lies.
Right. And he believes his own lies at that.
Yeah, exactly. And Ruckus could be right. I mean, he could very well have, whistled to the Almighty and given it up and got immunity. Maybe he has full immunity. We don't know. I find it really, really hard that Nick McClelland would have given full immunity to anyone.
You know, like you keep saying Ruckus, and I have not seen him in the chat once.
Oh, he's in there. Ruckus is in there.
Where's Mr. Clean at? There he is.
He's in here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly what I'm thinking also, Ruckus. The timing of him being moved and the charges being amended.
Yeah.
That's
and it
why.
is, it could be possible that Baldwin did all this and Rosie didn't know. But the bottom line is they're a team, and you can't really keep one and let the other one go, in my opinion.
Right.
Because of everything that's happened, it would be better to just do a clean slate, and they should have left Librato and those guys on the case. But I get why they didn't. I mean, I do.
Jesus, who's a corruption exposed? Somebody just sent me a message about a video on YouTube.
About what?
Delphi murders, Flora 4 fire, Monticello fire, corruption exposed.
Who did the or who did the
It's a
video?
blog. Hold on. Oh, you can't see this. I don't think. This was just sent to me. Oh, let me turn my camera on.
V. Marie, she certainly has a great resume. I will give her that.
No, you're not gonna be able to see it.
I can't
But
see it.
it says the unsolved murders of 8 innocent victims, all connected. I don't know who it is. It's a blog.
Are
Delphi-
they talking about Libby and Abby, and are they
This is-
talking about Nate and
They've
Stephanie?
They've got a bunch of names, a bunch of pictures of people. And this is from September of 2023. I don't know why somebody would send this to me.
Because they know you're live and they're trying to get you.
They ain't getting me.
They're trying to get your mind off of what you're talking about. Vid inquiry said, don't click on it.
I did.
Lakeside Justice, I believe it would be Nate and the police officer that unlived himself, and Stephanie, the ISP officer who died in the suspicious fire with her daughter.
Oh, you're talking about Sergeant Stephanie.
Mm-hmm.
What was her last name? Thompson.
Stephanie Thompson and Nate
Miller.
Yeah, she was the polygrapher.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's see.
And yes, that has always bothered me, that she was the polygrapher for Flora and for Delphi, and she died in a suspicious fire that still has not been ruled one way or the other.
Hey, Viv Inquiries. That's why you should have a VPN on your internet. I have a VPN on my phone, both my computers, and my TVs, so I can't get hacked.
Nate Miller and Stephanie Thompson worked very closely together.
Mm-hmm.
They knew each other. Do I think it's connected to Delphi? I think that it's very possible that somebody, I don't know necessarily think it's connected to Delphi, but I think it very well could be connected to Flora.
Yeah, that's more.
I think it's more Flora that I look at it connected to than Delphi.
But I think that people are trying to connect it to Delphi due to the fact that Stephanie was the polygrapher in this case too.
Yes. But then I did a whole live stream last year on it, that, there's only 4 or 5 polygraphers in the entire state of Indiana. So it's not like they have a ton to choose from.
Yeah, Nate was Pat Brown's alibi. Well, damn, we've made it all the way down. Well, guys, we've been at it for an hour and a half. Kristen?
Yep.
Another day or two, I'm sure we'll be right back up here.
I know.
I'm sure we'll see some more filings within the next couple of days again. But I want to thank you for coming up and hanging out.
Thank you for having me. I always enjoy it. Enjoy it.
And support with Stefan. Thank you for coming up and hanging out for a minute.
For sure. It was good to see everybody.
I want to give a shout out to everybody who's donated. I have Gail Hurd with 5 new memberships. Vid Inquiries, $1.99. Cecil Hotel, $2. Leslie Kingston, $4.99. 63 Clocks, $4. Gail Hurd, a new membership. Actually, 3 new memberships. Thank you, Gail Hurd. Well, she did a total of 8 today. So thank you, Gail Hurd, and everybody else who donated to the channel. Once again, Miss Kristen, thank you for coming and hanging out with us tonight. And everybody in the chat, I love you. You know what time it is.
Yep.
Peace out. One love, guys. Good night.
Yeah. Good night, everyone.